So for my windshield survey project, I compared Palos Verdes, which is area code 90275, to San Pedro, which is area code 90731. So 90275's general appearance is clean, landscapes are well maintained, the streets are wide and nicely paved. It's up on a hill on the coast of the Pacific Ocean. It's far from freeways, and it borders San Pedro, the low-income community that's being compared. Houses are well maintained, there's few apartments, and several large houses, and even a few mansions. Rent is always greater than $1,500 a month. The majority of houses are built between 1960 and 1969, and the average house is worth around $900,000. So there's a low rate of violent crime, 1 in 1,000 chance, and a generally high rate of property crime, 1 in 89 chance. 90731 appears run down with narrow streets, with frequently spotted litter and rundown parking lots. It also borders the Pacific Ocean. It's at the end of the 110 South Freeway, and it borders several low-income towns. Houses are poorly kept, run down, and appear damaged. There's several apartments and houses that are usually rented instead of owned. The average rent is between $1,000 and $1,500 a month, and houses are built before 1939 generally. Opposite to 90275, 90731 has a higher chance of being a victim of violent crime, 1 in 85 chance, and a lower rate of being a chance of a victim of property crime, 1 in 1,300 chance. These are some pictures that I took as I did my windshield project. The top pictures compare the neighborhoods of the two towns. On the left is Palos Verdes. You'll see that it's very green. The landscapes are nice. The houses are nice. There's few cars on the streets, and the streets are well paved. And on the right, the landscapes are poorly maintained. You'll see that the grass in the picture is turning brown, so it's not being maintained. There's a lot of cars in the street. You'll see that car parked in the middle of the street. Houses are generally run down. In the middle pictures, you'll see the average streets in the two towns. On the left, it's well paved. The paint is still on the street. On the right is very run down. And you'll see that there's trash in the alleyway. So the people of 90275, the majority are white, followed by Asian. The population is around 42,000. People generally speak English. Risky behaviors include drug use and alcohol use, but there's few bars in the community. People generally go out to restaurants. During the day, there's few people out, but the people I did see were walking their dogs. They appeared to be wearing clean clothes, and their appearance was well maintained. In 90731, the population is around 59,000. The predominant race is white, but there is a vast majority of Hispanics and African Americans in the community. English and Spanish are the most commonly spoken languages. As I drove down the streets, I commonly saw billboards and signs in Spanish. Risky behaviors include drug and alcohol use, and there's very many bars within the town. People during the day are also seen walking, riding bikes, but the streets are much busier. The people appear to be wearing rundown clothing and have somewhat of a disheveled appearance. In 90275, the schools are well maintained and have good ratings, compared to 90731, where there's more options of schools. There's private schools, Catholic schools, public schools, and even magnet schools, except the schools generally have poorer ratings compared to the schools in 90275. In 90275, the town has its own public transportation. It's called the PVPTA. It transports residents only around the city. And then most households have more than one car, so sharing a car isn't a problem. The transportation in 90731 includes public transportation, but these buses generally go beyond San Pedro into the bordering towns. Most people only have one car, so you can imagine in larger households how this can be an issue sharing transportation. The parks in 90275 are well maintained. You will often see views of the ocean from the parks, and they're generally safe because they're away from busy streets. In 90731, the parks are smaller, generally run down, and have high crime rates, so they're usually unsafe. In both towns, the primary religions are Lutheran and Christian, but in San Pedro, there are several Catholic churches. In 90275, the average income is over $100,000 a year. 4.3% fall below the poverty line, and 92% are employed in a white-collar job. Common occupations include office administration, sales, legal services, and management. There are few small businesses. There's little signs of poverty. Signs of wealth include expensive clothing stores, large houses, and you'll commonly see very expensive cars being driven around the town. And the majority of the residents vote Republican. In 90731, the average income is $49,000 a year. 21.1% fall below the poverty line. There are both blue and white-collar workers. Common occupations include education services, healthcare occupations, and management. And a very large number of the residents are employed by the Port of Los Angeles. There are a lot of small businesses and mom and pop shops, and people that live in San Pedro generally support their small business owners. Signs of poverty include homelessness. You'll oftentimes see people sleeping on the streets or sleeping under the freeways. And there are a lot of discount stores. The majority of the residents vote Democratic. As I was driving down one of the streets, I saw a large billboard for Janice Hahn. In these pictures, you'll kind of see the general businesses and shopping centers. On the left is 90275. That's a liquor store and a small clothing shop. You'll see that the area is well maintained. There's a bench for people to sit outside the stores and enjoy themselves. Compared to the liquor store on the right, that's kind of run down. And the shop next door has bars on the windows. The streets are run down. People generally don't hang out and relax around these parking centers. And then on the lower picture, you'll see a discount clothing store, jeans being sold for $5. You'll see bus stops and even litter on the street. So in 90275, common health issues include alcohol, drug abuse, eating disorders, heart disease, and they lack availability of close healthcare services. There's no mental health facility or hospital within 90275. However, there are psychiatry offices and one local clinic. In 90731, common health issues include alcohol and drug abuse. Teen pregnancy rates are high, diabetes, hypertension. There is a hospital located within 90731. There's a free clinic, an outpatient clinic. There's services for mental health. There's more than one substance abuse treatment center, and even multiple halfway houses within the community for people when they get out of the substance abuse treatment center. In 90275, there is a local fire station, but there is not a local police station. The closest police station is located just outside of 90275. There is a chiropractor and urgent care, but no hospital, as I said earlier. There is a hospital generally close, but it's just not located in 90275. There are large shopping malls, offices, and multiple libraries. People are commonly seen gathering around restaurants, malls, and on the coast. There's few billboards and informational signs posted on the streets. The streets are generally kept very clean. In 90731, there's multiple fire stations and a local police station. There's a hospital and free clinic and urgent care located in the area code. And then there's also a WIC office for women in need of support after their pregnancy. There's several discount stores, such as discounted supermarkets, 99-cent stores, Dollar Trees, and then there is a public library. The majority of people gather on 6th Street, which is a common area. It has several bars and coffee shops, and that's generally where people go to socialize. And then there's billboards and signs located on almost every major street. So in 90275, the community is generally safe, quiet, and clean. In 90731, the community is very close and supportive of one another, and there's a wide variety of services and resources for the members of the community. The key stakeholders I interviewed for 90275 was an employee at the local clinic. She explained that she never feels she lacks resources to do her job. Kathleen is a high school student. She explained that some of her friends are active and play in activities at school, but she complains that she sees a lot of students spending their time partying. Christian is a resident of 90275 who has lived in Palos Verdes for years. He explained that he enjoys where he lives and feels safe, but he complains that the cost of living is high. In 90731, I interviewed a local paramedic named Corey. He states that he commonly sees alcohol and drug-related health issues, such as car accidents, driving. About a high amount of people in but he says that Thomas is a resident of 90731. He explained that he's concerned about our local water integrity. He feels that living in the port pollutes our local water supply. Jerry is a local business owner that I interviewed. He owns one of the pizza shops in San Pedro. He says that he feels unsafe in the town because of the high crime rate and vandalism. He says that he puts locked bars on his windows at night just for protection for his business. So as I drove through 90275, I never once felt unsafe. People weren't friendly or unfriendly, but they kind of seemed distant and reserved. And I would love to work or live in one of those a town similar to that. In 90731, I have somewhat of a bias because I live in this community. But driving around and looking at it while I was doing this windshield project kind of gave me a new perspective on the town. The community is known for being unsafe, and as a member of the community, I know which areas are generally unsafer than others. So people generally avoid those neighborhoods. But interacting with people are generally friendly. But again, it depends on which area of the town that you're in.